Tornado season here in Alabama is from April through May with a little bit of Thanksgiving and Christmas mixed in. And you know what? Tornadoes aren't quite as scary as you may be making them out to be. Hi, I'm Mary Harmon Young, a local realtor and born and raised here in Alabama. Today I really wanted to talk to you about what tornado season looks like, just how to stay safe, how I keep my family safe, and how to really prepare yourself both physically and mentally for tornadoes here in our area. Growing up, I always knew of Tornado Alley as closer to the Kansas and the Midwest area, but possibly for unknown reasons, it has moved to what we now are calling Dixie Alley, which is right here in the southeast, above the Gulf Coast in Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and Tennessee. Typically, we are seeing the most tornadoes during the spring, which is March, April, and May, with April certainly being the busiest and most active tornado month, as well as November and December. So a lot of people, when they think of tornadoes, they really do just think about the spring months, but as being a lifelong resident here in Alabama, I can certainly remember some tornado events around Christmas, around Thanksgiving, and those months as well. Typically, when we think about when are the most frequently having tornadoes, they're anywhere from about 3 p.m. all the way through nighttime. So it's very rare that we see early morning tornadoes. I don't know what the science behind that is, but when you're thinking and preparing about living in this new Dixie Alley area, what that looks like is typically we're looking at afternoon, evening, and nighttime tornadoes. Personally, I despise nighttime tornadoes. One, just because I need my sleep, but two, I feel like, I don't know, something about not being able to look outside and see what the weather looks like, what the clouds look like, and see something coming makes me just extra anxious and uncomfortable. So there's lots of things about tornadoes that we're going to discuss today. The first and foremost is what the difference is when you see a watch versus a warning. So a watch just means that the weather is favorable and that the atmosphere is favorable to developing a tornado. Typically, we can see watches for hours at a time, but we are even able to see the weather looks like it may be favorable for almost a week out. It's probably even 10 days out. So you'll start seeing on the news saying, all right, we're starting to see some weather coming up. We're going to be watching the storm system or this cold front meeting this warm front. And so just be weather aware over the next week. We had some tornado weather this week and we started hearing about it probably about 4 days prior. So we were able to take the time to get our area here in our house ready, to get just think through it, go back over with my kids what we do when we hear the sirens, what does the siren sound like, and things like that. A warning means that either on the radar they have seen indication of debris or a tornado, or that somebody has spotted a tornado. Doesn't necessarily mean the tornado is in the ground. It could still be up in the clouds, but somebody has seen it or the radar has indicated with strong possibilities that there is a tornado. When I was a kid, the tornado sirens would go off for the entire county. Now, because of technology, it's much more pinpointed based on the sides of the county, because we're in Tuscaloosa County, and Tuscaloosa County is a very large county. And so if it is 69 South or on the south part of the county, the sirens are not going to go up all the way up in north side or vice versa. According to the statistics that I've been able to find, we have had 91 tornadoes that have caused damage since 1950 in the entire state of Alabama. Tuscaloosa certainly is most known for their tornado outbreak in April of 2011. Unfortunately, that is when we had some loss of life and had some major destruction to our city. It breaks my heart to think of all the lives lost and the destruction caused by tornadoes. Each loss is a profound tragedy, leaving behind grieving families and shattered communities. But I'm hoping by educating each other and ourselves and taking proactive steps and preparing not only ourselves, but our friends, our communities, and our families, that we can help lower the impact that these natural disasters can have on our family and our friends. So let's come together with education and with more knowledge and ensure that all of our communities are better equipped to protect ourselves, our families, our friends from the fury of tornadoes. You know, when we think about tornadoes in general, I have a hard time understanding a lot of the fear for people moving here because I'm scared to death of earthquakes. The idea of not knowing when it's going to come and then just all of a sudden feeling it just makes me so anxious, so nervous, and just so many unknowns. And when, you don't know when a levee is going to break in New Orleans that could cause flooding. With hurricanes, you certainly are talking about them and seeing them a lot on the news. And I feel the same way about tornadoes. Like I said, sometimes know 10 days in advance that there's weather coming. And so I feel like I can prepare, I can watch, I can look outside, go look at the clouds, and really follow who the people we trust to get that information. And so that's a distinctive thing that I feel like is important for people that are looking to move here to the West Alabama area or to the Alabama area, is that we really do have some heads up. You don't necessarily know if it's going to hit the ground, if it's even the one's going to form, or where it's going to form, but you do know ahead of time to get your stuff ready, to get your tornado room ready, and to get into your safe spot, typically 5-10 minutes ahead of time. So let's talk about prep. So there are a few apps that I personally follow. We have the NOAA Weather Radio app, which is tried and true. Here in West Alabama, we have our king of weather, James Spann. James Spann has been around for my entire childhood and is a weather god. He is very knowledgeable, and not just knowledgeable about the weather, but knowledgeable about our area. There are jokes all the time during tornado warnings where he's like, all right, if you are close to Ebenezer Baptist Church right off of County Road 21, you need to take cover. And it's not like he just knows our area for a small area. He knows really almost the entire state of Alabama. And it's because he gets out and travels and speaks and goes and do schools events. So he really is aware of all the different roads. So when you're listening to him, you really know how close a tornado or a weather event is to you because of what he's saying. And if he's not saying things that are registering, you're probably not that close to it. So he is on ABC 3340. So he has an app. He's typically live on Facebook and Instagram and on TV. Another weather god we have here in Tuscaloosa is Richard Scott. Went to college with Richard Scott. He is much younger, but is very, very knowledgeable and helpful as well. With him being from here or lived here in the last few years, he also is very knowledgeable about the area. So if you hear him, sometimes unfortunately, there can be multiple tornadoes at the same time across Alabama. So James Spann's may be really highlighting one that is on the ground in another area. And so I'll flip over to listen to Richard or pull him up on the Instagram or Facebook because he's talking more about this specific area. I have signed up for the Tuscaloosa emergency alert. It's called the Tusk Alert. It is a text message system that will text you if there is a weather emergency, whether it's a tornado watch, thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, flooding, anything like that. So that is also nice, especially if I'm asleep and then something pops up, to get that text message to alert us. So we have a siren system that is tested once a month on Wednesdays at lunchtime. So if you hear it and it's a beautiful day, think about it. Is it Wednesday on the first of the month, or is it a real tornado siren? So that siren will go off for a warning. So that's another way that we were able to get woken up, is because that siren is loud and it is hard to miss. They do have sirens all over town, so it doesn't matter where you are, you will be able to hear it. Sometimes if you're extra close, it is extra, 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 extra loud. So there's some other things that I keep in our prepared area that we have. So after lots of studying tornadoes, the authorities and people that know and study these say that you need to be on the bottom level of a building as centrally into the property as possible. So you don't want to be on the edge of your home. You want to try to get into a room in the middle that is away from windows or doesn't have windows. We have chosen a half bath that is in between kind of our dining room, our hallway, and then our garage. So it is the middle of the home on the main level. In there, we keep some stuff all the time, and then some stuff we just bring in as it's tornado season. So inside our vanity, it looks beautiful, but you open it up, it kind of looks like a hot mess. We have flashlights, extra chargers, portable chargers, helmets, hard sole shoes, dog food for our dog Charlie, first aid kit. Things we add to it as we need to is an actual hand crank weather radio, bottled water, snacks, make sure the shoes still fit in there, make sure the helmet still fits, chargers, medicine is important. You are not going to want to be, if you're in an apartment or in a mobile home, you are going to want to leave. And like I said, you're going to have some time to be told to get to a safer spot. So some things that I am very proud of in our community is at the University of Alabama for the students, they have, I think, about 11 or 12 storm shelters that really and truly are massive. And so anybody, you don't have to be a student. I think they do kind of give preference to students. But if you were in the downtown area, there are about 12 storm shelters on the University of Alabama campus throughout the Tuscaloosa County area. The last time I checked, we have about 14 storm shelters that the county and city provide that open up. And they are very good about announcing it on the radio, announcing it on TV, even on social media, that the storm shelters are now open and that they have police officers, firemen, things like that, representatives to the city that are there to help keep everybody safe and get everybody in there. And so if you aren't comfortable staying in your home, you can go to these storm shelters. Like I said, there's about 25 in our area between the university, city, and county that you can go to. We also are starting to see homes, and not as many as you would think, knowing our reputation of tornadoes. But as a realtor going into properties all over the county, we are starting to see some homeowners invest in tornado shelters to be put into their home. Sometimes it is certainly easier during the construction process to do that, but they do come back. I've seen them where they are in the garage, underground, above ground in the garage, where they put them in the backyard. And that is something that is certainly something that can be attractive. If you go to resell your home, to have people say, I really want a storm shelter at my current home. And that is something that we're starting to see a ton of. Because of our topography here in West Alabama, we don't have a ton of basements. Not saying you're not going to find any, but typically it's a pretty small percentage of what properties have the basements, which would be the lowest part and a safe option to go to during a tornado. But just wanted to really kind of talk about the laws of preparedness and what to do in Tuscaloosa if you're looking at moving here, what to expect, hopefully to give you some common information that just from another mama to other parents about what to do, how to help their kids handle this, what to put in there. We certainly put iPads, toys into our tornado room to help comfort them. But if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But I hope this helps give you some information, helps calm you down. And like I said, I'm scared of earthquakes because you just never know when they're going to happen. You never know when that levee is going to break in New Orleans. At least typically with tornadoes, we are given a heads up. Then we are giving a watch time so where we can prepare before, God forbid, there is a tornado emergency where the warning sirens go off. If you find this interesting and want to know more about Tuscaloosa and tornadoes, you're going to want to watch this video about some actual in-ground storm shelter options for you, as well as storm shelters here in our area.